Welcome to Positive Power Lady. Listen in as your host, Sandy Joy Weston, takes on the hottest topics, explores how to deal with them in a positive, bold way, and chats with some amazing power ladies out in the world.
It's Fauza. She's here. I'm so excited. Hi, Fauza. How you
Hi,
doing?
Sandy.
All right. Now, my
How are you?
positive power ladies are wondering, what the heck? I can see these beautiful women. And yes, it's a special occasion. Fauza is coming from us from Dubai. Yay. So she's probably almost getting ready for bed. And I know normally you can only hear us, but I thought this time, this woman's used to being on camera. She has her own show. So we're going to do it. And if you want to listen, great, but you also can watch. But before we start, let me tell you about Fauza Beltz. She is a motivational speaker and mentor. Love that part. Her greatest passion is to empower, inspire, and motivate young men and women to make a lasting change and live their best life. She is also the author of Rising from the Dust. I love that. A woman's journey to self discovery and transform fear into freedom. Amen, sister. Harness the power of the mind. Oh my goodness. So, how Fazla and I met was through IWES, right? The international organization. And then they have a WhatsApp. And I just so much, we attracted to one another. And I first came on your show. So, before we tell them all that, I always start my show with one word. If you were going to pick one word to best describe your past 30 days, what would you say?
Fabulous.
Well, there aren't many people saying that. So tell me why fabulous. I love hearing that. Yay.
Yeah, because I think we all have a choice, right? We have a choice to really think how we want to think, to decide what we want to decide, to make the decisions that we want to take and to make. I always say that we cannot control what is not in our power,
Mm.
but we have the power and choice to control that which is on our reach. So I think I feel really fabulous. I mean, COVID is still here. That's not on my power. So I'm not going to be worried about that.
Darn. I wish
It's
it
not
was.
changing anything, is it, Sandy? It's not.
No,
So I'm
no.
feeling me. I'm feeling fabulous. Look at my earrings. They're dropping. I'm feeling fabulous.
Which we got to get. By the way, just so you know, I always have my journal right here, and I write in my journal to remind myself of what I want before I go on the podcast. And then I bring cups. And this one says cup of joy, but you're going to really like this one today because it was about, it says, I always have three beverages. What am I telling my crew? And that means the crew up here in your brain. Like, what are you telling
Mm-hmm.
it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
The
love that.
power is here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing in the last year. I mean, because everybody's bobbing and weaving and shifting gears. What has changed for you with your career? Is there anything that's, is totally like, Sandy, I had to do this, I was doing that? Or have you been doing
Mhm.
the same thing?
Well, the truth is, I think in the beginning, 2020, for me, it's like that's what I said, fabulous, because for me, answering your question, 2020 started really well. I had just launched my clothing line. I had a grand fashion show. I had collaborated on exhibition with some of my friends, designers here in Dubai. And so really, I stepped in really well. And then, of course, COVID kicked in, which it was really a shock, not only to me, but to all of us. But then I kept on saying to myself, this thing is here and it's not going anywhere. But what can I do now? What are the resources that I have? What can I do? And so the only downfall about it was I had planned my event. So I was going to travel to Kenya actually, but I had to cancel my trip because we were on a lockdown. So
Yeah.
that was the only thing that was like, eh. But then I thought, okay, so I'm going to use this time to finalize my second book, Transform Fear into Freedom. So I use that time to
Ah,
finalize my book. You see, when I say I feel fabulous, Sandy. So
I see, girlfriend.
yes. And then what else did I do? I started having conversations with people like you, like what we are doing now, which is something that I had started, but that was more a different kind of a show in 2018 and 2019. But then when COVID kicked in, I used the opportunity. I said, okay, I'm just curious to hear what other business people are handling this situation. And I started having conversations with people like you, Sandy. You just came on my show too, not long ago.
Tell them the name of your show.
So the show is Fauza Diaries. So there are diaries which I bring different stories, real life stories, inspiring story, business stories, everything, you name it, it's in the show. So
it's so great. And I mean, even when I was on, you made me laugh, you made me cry. I mean, what's up with that? Bonding going on through Zoom. How's that happening? You know?
I think it's the energy and the connection, Sandy.
Yes,
I mean,
agree.
if you see how we've connected, it's like I've known you for more than 10 years. And it's just because, you know, we are all in this WhatsApp group for business women. And I just felt like the energy was just right. You know, the energy was aligning, and, you know, there is just this, you know, being, you know, there is this just power and energy. So I think everything is happening for a reason. It was just meant to be.
Yeah.
On such a time.
Okay, so let's get back to Kenya. My aunt, who was a diplomat, traveled all over the world. And she's like, Sandy, of all the places, you have to go to Africa. You have to go to safari. I forget the one she really wanted me to go to, but, you know, we never got to go. But I was like, my friend who grew up there, she's like, Sandy, you have to go. You're going to love it. You're not going to want to come home. It's so you. So can I go with you? Because I need to be shown around. Like, and number one, and number two, what safari would you recommend? Where would you recommend going if you've never been there
to
before?
Kenya? Well, I know most people, they always go to Masai Mara, which it's like the grand, you know, you have all the animals that you can be actually able to see. The great migration where the wild beasts, they're crossing over the Mara River to Serengeti. It's spectacular. I always tell people it's something that even on National Geography, they don't really capture the essence. You have to see it with your naked eyes. Amboseli is also another place to visit. So beautiful. I find it's not so over advertised because many tourists like Masai Mara. But I think if you want a zen, you know, a bit of low gear, Amboseli is also one of our beautiful national parks to visit in Kenya.
Okay, so have you gone to a lot of safaris when you were there?
Yes, I've done a lot of safaris lately, especially when I got married.
Okay.
Because my husband is Dutch, and he was just, we need to do this, we need to see this. So
I'm with him.
I became a tourist in my own country.
Yeah, you probably saw things and went, wait, I didn't know that was there.
Yes, because you know, when you are so used to the good things, you actually forget that they're existing until someone else who never had them, they see what it is, and you are like, okay, he just opened up my eyes.
I agree. I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and there's so much history for the United States in Philadelphia. And people come, oh, I want to go to this, I want to go to this, don't go to Roxy. I'm like, wow, I drive by that every day, and I don't even think to stop. And, you know, so when you bring others in, you're right. It's a whole new world.
It becomes different. Absolutely.
So did you grow up there in Kenya?
Yes, I was born in the coast. I'm actually a coastal girl in Mombasa, the south part of the coast, but I've grown up in different homes in Mombasa itself, and then I've grown up also in different homes in Nairobi.
Okay. Why? How did you meet the Dutch husband and then get over to Dubai? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I met my husband, it's almost 13 years ago. Yeah, time has really flown. In Kenya. He used to work for KLM, KLM Kenya Airways in Kenya. So that's how we met. And
Okay.
then, yeah, so, but we've been in Dubai for this year will be our 10th year. So, but we came here together. We didn't meet each other here. We came
Gotcha.
as a family. Yeah, yeah.
But why? Why Dubai?
Because he moved jobs from KLM, and then he got another job with Emirates. So that's how we ended up now actually moving to Kenya, and then the Netherlands, and then from the Netherlands, and then we moved to Dubai. So it's very, very, yeah.
I would love that, because I would love to see all different countries and really get in and experience them. Or was it weird living your home? Like, what do you mean I'm leaving here? Was it weird? Like, do you have a lot of family back there?
Yeah, it was because I had never actually lived in a different country. So for me, I have had friends who have been in Dubai, working in Dubai, but I've always been a girl who felt comfortable with what she knew, with what was, we just comfortable with what I know. And so the idea of actually leaving what I knew to something totally different, that was like, okay. So we got to Holland. Holland, it's home, of course. So that was totally different. But it was a bit different when we got into Dubai, because then you realize, okay, I'm in a big city. I don't have friends. I have a toddler. I was not working at that time because I had left my job. So I was staying home mom, because my son was still was only just 1 year. So it was a little bit of adjustment.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Moving with a 1-year-old. That's something you said right there.
Yeah. We got here. My son was only 13 months old.
Wow.
In a new country, not knowing anyone, only my husband.
And now, 10 years later?
10 years later, Sandy, here we are, I'm chatting with you.
Do you have new friends? I mean, do you
a lot of friends. I've met really, really amazing people in Dubai. I actually feel that I have really transformed. I have grown. I have matured. I have met amazing people. I mean, I've been able to do the things that I'm doing from here.
Yeah,
here, it all started here. And, and then later on started, okay, let me give back to, let me go back home and support, my own people as well. But then it's for me, I really feel that living here with the vision of this country, the rulers and all that, sometimes I feel like it sort of inspires you. Like yesterday they just did the Arabs Mars. So they send a satellite to them to Mars and all those things. And I love what they were saying, that impossible is possible. So living here, it sort of push you to navigate, to find yourself, to try something new, not just being here, just for being here. But I feel like it gives you a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here. I've really learned a lot.
I know almost every person I've spoken to who's moved to Dubai loves it. And right now, all the females, I mean, they just feel like they're inspired. They can do this. I don't know. I think Maya told me there's 50% of women in the government. I mean, that's crazy. So that's a lot of it makes me know I can do more. It's possible. We're in this together, and you get that support,
Absolutely. I mean, when you look to the history, the UAE they were making yesterday, when you hear the team, majority of the team, who were involved in this project, they were female. So there is just something that living here, it gives you the courage also to try new things. And even if things don't work well, at least you have tried. It sort of inspires you, and it gives you a push to try and to do something different.
I almost was going to come there. And then, like, because I was invited, I met so many people. And then, of course, it's on hold. But I get so excited about thinking the day that I can come there and see all my friends. I'm going to, like, it's going to be so cool.
You're gonna love it, Sandy. I have to say, you will love it.
I know.
And there's so much to do here. Many people, they think it's a desert, but no, it's not just a desert. There is so much to do in the UAE. A lot of things to do.
I believe you. Although I do want to go to the desert and I do want to ride a camel.
Desert is fun. Yeah, those things are fun too.
Yeah.
But many people, when they hear of the Middle East, especially UAE, they only think of the sand and, you know, the desert and all that. But there are oases here. You know, you can go to the mountains. You can do quite a lot here.
Yeah.
In the desert.
I believe you. Okay. I need to ask you about Rising from the Dust, a woman's journey to self-discovery. Were you always an author? Is that what you did well? And okay, I write books, this is what I do. Or did you have this epiphany and think, I have to give this story to others?
I think, when you read the book, normally I explain these all things. I was not born a writer. It actually came out of reconciling myself, with why am I here? A question that many people have asked, what's my existence? Why am I here? I grew up in different homes, like I've said earlier, Sandy, and it wasn't easy. I grew up in abusive homes. I matured very early. My parents were not married. I was a one-night stand child, brought shame to the family. And growing up, you are told all these things. It does something with someone, but sometimes you don't even realize as adults when you're talking to the kids about certain things, which they are very, it's not even on their power. It actually does something with someone. Especially for me, my struggle I was trying to find my place. When you reach adult period, you're looking for, I don't know, you are trying to find your place in the community, in the society. And because subconsciously you've grown knowing that you were not supposed to be here, you were just by an accident, you brought shame in the family. It actually does something with you.
Absolutely.
And so for me, I have had a lot of questions, what really happened? Because as a believer, Sandy, I believe that God doesn't do anything accidentally. He's not a God of accident. He purposely, he co-creates, and I really believe that nothing on this earth happens by accident. He sees everything, and everything that is created, he created it.
Yes.
So there is no accident in anything. And so it was, for me, Rising from the Dust was my way of ending that chapter and starting a new chapter. And the reason why I went on this journey is because I realized that I was carrying a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of condemnation, a lot of fear, there were times where I went through really anxiety, and it was just a mess.
Yeah.
And you don't actually realize until it takes a situation, it takes something to reveal who you are. And so for me, it was a way of trying to reconcile with myself. And through this journey, I found my purpose. I found who I am, because who I am has nothing to do with where I come from, how I was conceived, what the society has said about me, the shame that I brought to my parents. That is not a shame for me, but I was carrying that shame that was not even mine.
Yes.
But what did I know? I didn't know anything better. And because you don't know anything better, you don't think anything better. You only think what you know. Limiting thoughts, self-belief, lack of confidence, sabotaging, guilty, you name it, you think it. And so I said, okay, this has happened, but what am I doing now with the life that I have. I mean, the fact that the egg and the sperm connected, that alone, it is a miracle. The fact that, on a
Yes.
one night and it happened in the bush, that is a miracle. So knowing that my existence, it is not it might be a surprise to my parents, it might be an accident, but
I get
it
it.
was not an accident for God. So now my question is, what am I doing with the life that I have
Mm,
now?
mm,
Yes, this has happened, but who do I call myself? What is God saying about me and my existence?
mm.
So for me, I started to go back now. I always say opening those wardrobes and cleaning one cabin after the other. Soul searching, healing, self-acceptance, loving me, accepting me, and just being me, knowing that there is higher power, that is bigger than me, that is controlling everything and that knows better than myself sometimes.
There are so many amazing things in there that I could pull from. I don't even know where to start, and I could have a whole series of podcasts because I have so many questions. But I'm grateful for you that you wrote this book, and I'm so proud of you. And that couldn't have been easy because I'm sure, while you're writing it, so many things, came up for you, but you came, like you said, to the other side of where you wanted to go. And
Absolutely.
thank God that you realized all that stuff that we carry around in our head, those imprints that are on our brain, since some people say
Mhm.
six or seven, that you can't control.
Mm-mm.
You just grow up and they're in there thinking, okay, this is reality. This is how I should feel. This, and it's so subconscious, you don't even know unless something happens. You're like, wait a minute, hold
Mhm.
on. I don't have to feel
Mhm.
like this. I don't have to be responsible. I don't have to carry this guilt. So, was there somebody in your life that mentored you or inspired you to say, wait a minute, I don't have to believe all this stuff? Was there something that happened? Or you mentioned you were in several different homes. Were they foster homes or?
Well, not really first. So my mother gave me away when I was 3 years old to her mother. And then I stayed with my maternal grandmother, I think until about I was about 8 or 7.
Okay.
And then I was taken in now to my paternal grandmother. And then I stayed there until I finished primary school. And then I was sent to a boarding school. And
Gotcha.
then at boarding school, I had to stay with a distance cousin, and then so yeah, not really foster homes, but a cousin here, a grandmother there, which it's actually something that it happens in many homes in not only in Africa, but
Yes.
I think it just, these things, they just do happen
Yes.
depending on the circumstances of each individual, and and the life at that point in our lives. And so for me, I would say that my turning point was my relationship with my husband.
Mm.
Yes, that was my turning point. And the reason why it was my turning point, Sandy, because again, it brought shame to my family.
Here we go. I
Not
gotcha.
expected. He's European. You've gone out of the culture. Then you are being called a prostitute. You have brought
What?
shame. Yes. And there is a lot of misconception, Sandy, about interracial marriages. This is
Mm.
something that many people, I don't even think they are aware of. But the labels that people give interracial marriage relationships, sometimes it's just unbelievable. For me, the hardest thing was it came from some members of the family.
Mm.
And then it became a shame. I was the prostitute, and it brought, family disconnection. I became an outcast, and you know, you suddenly go back to what things were happening, you know, in your teenage years, in your childhood, when you start getting memories and, you know, your mind, because the mind, I'm learning that, you know, the kids, they start to grow, the brain forms and develops in every stage of your life. So you remember some things, sometimes, you know, you do remember things. And so for me, it triggered something again, Sandy. I went in a really bad anxiety, and I really was so stressed and so depressed, really, in a way that I was so ashamed once again of myself for being just different and just following my heart and just loving a human being who just loves me unconditionally. But in the eyes of other people, it looked like it's dirty, it's it's not acceptable, you're going beyond the culture, you know, all these things. And so my husband actually is the one who encouraged me to get a professional help. So I had a coach. Yes, I did counseling, and it's really helped me to go on that journey. And that's when I started writing down. I mean, I was always jotting things down, but I wouldn't say that it was a book. You know, but it was just the emotion. You should see my first manuscript. It was full of anger, a lot of rage and all that. And then my editor would actually ask me, but is this what you want people to read? Because when you write, you are teaching someone. What value are you creating?
Good editor. Good editor.
Yeah.
And so then did you go back?
You go back again and you ask yourself, but who am I? What's really, what is my identity? Who really, who am I? Where is my origin? Sandy, it is a lot of work. It does a lot with your mind. You really, really have to be careful and guard the mind, because in your mind, the battles are raging all the time. It creates fear, it creates anxiety, it creates worry, it creates, you know, you hate yourself. You look on the mirror and you don't know who that person is. Yeah. But the question I keep asking now, when I share, when I talk, when I give, you know, when I get an opportunity to speak, or even now on, you know, on this show, is, what are you doing? Do you believe the lies of the enemy? Who do you really call yourself? And what does God say about you?
So powerful, so simple, but so powerful. I love, like, one of your tips where it say about looking in the mirror every day and saying, I love you. It's hard for a lot of people. A lot of people can't even say, I like you. You know, they start, I used to do that. I used to bring little mirrors to my workshop and they would just start crying. So but it takes time, and at least it lets you know where you are.
Yes. And you know who taught me to do the mirror work?
I don't know.
Louise Hay.
Yes. I was hoping you would say that. Yes.
Louise Hay, the first, let me tell you, my
Love
husband
her.
gave me You Can Heal Your Life on, it was December 2013 or 2014. Yes. And I was just like, because I was not, you know, the culture of reading, it's not really pushed in Africa, especially when I was growing up. So I've never really considered myself a reader, you know, until I started reading, and now, you know, becoming an author myself. Oh my goodness, I'm reading books like, I have like stacks and stacks of books and books and books. It changes you. Reading changes you. It takes you from Kenya to Europe to America to Canada. Really, you follow the journey of the writer. And in her book, Louise Hay says, when we are willing to do the mental work, almost everything can be healed. So it's after I read Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, it really triggered something And I started looking back at my relationship with Fauza, with myself, not with my parents, because whatever happened between them, that's not my problem. I just became the victim because I am the product of their sin. But I'm not the sin. I am the product of their action. And so you look at yourself, you see yourself so dirty because of, you look at yourself and you look so unfilthy and so dirty. And so Louise says, if you are willing, almost everything can be healed. So it was a challenge. When I started doing the mirror work, I used to cry. Really, I would cry. But now, I look straight in the mirror and I look at that woman and I say, girl, you have come from far and you are still going. You've got this. But it's not easy. But the more and more we do it, the more and more it becomes familiar to ourselves. But you can only be able to do that when you have compassion for yourself, love for yourself, empathy for yourself, respect for yourself. Otherwise, it becomes a burden. Because if you don't love the person looking back at you, how are you going to tell them you love them?
I cannot believe that you started with Louise Hayes. It even is more why we're connected, because that years ago, Louise Hayes was like just groundbreaking for me, and Wayne Dyer, and that group, and all these things I kind of thought, but I didn't know if any else believed this way. Like there were certain things that were innate me that just didn't make sense about what people said. And then I started reading Louise Hayes and Wayne Dyer and Abraham Hicks. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not loony bins here. There are other people that believe this. And like, I am too. I have like self-help books all up and down. And everyone says, how much help do you need? I go, apparently a lot, but I love to grow and I love learning a new way of saying things. Like your message is going to hit, somebody in a different way than that person, and your journey and is so powerful. We didn't even get to your second book, which is Fear into Freedom, Harness the Power of Your Mind.
Transform fear into freedom. Yes. Harness the power of your mind.
Now, is that out yet? Transform fear into freedom?
Yes, it's everywhere on Amazon, Amazon US, Amazon Japan, India, UK, anywhere, France, Australia, anywhere Amazon is, you can get the book. This week, we just managed to have it on Amazon.ae. It's in one of the bookstores in Dubai. I am just feeling fabulous.
And you know what? That's so true. It's so true. You know, about transforming fear into freedom. I mean, you can do it. Like you said, it's not easy, but if you want it little by little, every single day. So give us just one little tidbit about this book now, because I know, it's got, I don't know how long the break was between the first book and the second book.
So Transform Fear to Freedom, it took me three years, let's say. Rising from the Dust took me 4 years, almost 5, because it was really, I was really still wounded and damaged. So I was healing, so the process was very vulnerable, was very raw, was very painful. You're going back, you're cleaning, a wound which is still bleeding, but it has to be cleaned and bandaged and, and nursing it. And so that took me 4 years. Transform fear into freedom. It has taken me 3 years, more or less, let's say. And, I introduce, again, for those who haven't read Rising from the Dust, I'm introducing them a little bit about Rising from the Dust, so that they can at least have an understanding of of Fauza. But in Transform Fear into Freedom, I'm really going deeper, things to do with like what we are talking about now. loving yourself, going after your goals and your dreams without letting fear, get on the way. Because what I really realized, Sandy, even for myself, after I published Rising from the Dust, I was still not fully released, and there were times when something happened, I would go back, to the old memories. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I allowing fear to take control over my life?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and fear, we know that it's false evidence appearing real. And most of the time, if we continuously think of the same things, it becomes true to ourselves. And so we
Absolutely.
keep saying that I cannot do that. I am not beautiful. I am not intelligent. Or I'm not going to make it because I don't have the right connection. You tell yourself stories. But also it was inspired by the work that I do, with the communities back in Kenya. I realized that many teenagers, many young teenagers, they are really, really living in fear of what the future will hold. I mean, we all have these things, fear of the unknown. Sometimes they don't even know why they are scared. And so it inspired me. So mentoring and speaking in the different schools in Kenya, not all in Kenya, even I've done
Yeah.
speaking engagements here and doing some things here as well. It encouraged me and it inspired me to put down now this experience together to make it a book, because I know that we have all gone through experiences in our lives
Yes.
that have stopped us to become who we are created to become.
I'm sitting here thinking how powerful it must be when you talk to these young people, because you're not just saying, okay, you have to love yourself. Okay. And it's just going to go away. You're really telling about your journey, which is some journey. And what a lot of people feel, even not going through that, they're not enough. They feel guilty. Their parents want them to be a doctor, lawyer. They're not. They don't think it bothers them. It does bother them. So it just is mind blowing to me how awesome it must be to be in front of these kids and know that you're impacting their lives. So amazing.
It gives me a lot of joy, Sandy, and I don't take anything for granted, and I don't even gratify myself. I am thankful to God that really everything has worked together for a good reason.
Absolutely.
What I realize, Sandy, is that people want another person to remind them that you are capable, that you can do it, that you can, you can do this, you can. Sometimes people just want to be reminded.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
also what I've realized, we see our stories when we hear others people's talk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And for me, that is so profound. And
Yeah.
having that understanding that they are not alone. For me, I always say that every time I get an opportunity to share, I'm just thankful. I
Yes.
am just grateful that I can, that I just can. And I don't take these things for granted, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that you said you were in a different place when you wrote that book. Of course you were, different part of your journey. And now
Yeah.
you're at this, and you never get it done. You keep growing. You'll have more books that come out from a different place, and it'll impact
Yeah.
many lives. But as
Yeah.
soon as you start telling me about how you were conceived, I'm thinking, heck yeah, lady, God already had a plan. Like we're gonna you have a choice here. Like you said, it's co-creating, but in my brain, if you take it, to the divine and you use it to inspire yourself and others, this is going to be so freaking powerful. And we know you can do it. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
game on.
absolutely.
She's coming
Absolutely.
after us,
Yeah.
and
And I
so
think,
go ahead.
yeah, I think it's important we realize also, but also the people that we surround ourselves with, it's important we realize why we are here,
Mm.
For me, it was the many question people ask, and if I always say, if only I can inspire one person, that would have fulfilled my purpose here on earth. Yeah.
Yep. I like it. I love it. It's it's something that I think many of us should remember right now, because it's a time where people are filled with even more stress and anxiety and uncertain,
Mm-hmm.
like of what they can't control, and
Mm-hmm.
the fear of everything.
Yeah.
So that's why this book is perfect timing of transforming fear into freedom, because we need it so much. And as soon as we think we're getting out of the woods, it's like, and I'm like, okay, go deeper, go deeper,
Yes.
So it's something we all have to work on. And no matter how many books you've written and how many times you told your story, you do have self-discovery, but then there's something else. It doesn't just, like you said, it's not a flick of a switch, but every day you get up, you look at yourself in the mirror, and some thoughts are going to be stronger than others, but at least you now know where to go with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know where my power is.
Yeah.
And because I know that I have no control of what's going to happen. Even during the day, I
Yeah.
pray, I do my meditation, I do my gratitude journal, I dedicate the day to God, for me.
Mm.
And sometimes things don't go the way we hope they would. But
That's
it's
true.
my reaction towards those things that will
Yes.
make a difference.
Yes.
It's the reaction, not what has happened to you. It is
Yes.
how you will react.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, I could sit here and talk to you forever. And I have like 17 questions still that I didn't even get out, but that's okay. We can always have you back on, because this is fascinating. I love hearing your story, and I love how you're empowering yourself and others. But we did have a few questions, because before you come on, I always ask my listeners to give me some questions. And this young man, I think this is a pretty relevant one for what we've been talking about, said he has an uncle, and the uncle always says, I'm just giving you the facts. But he's very, like, especially with COVID, but it's always, here's the facts, but negative and doom and gloom. And he doesn't know what to say to the uncle, because he always says, okay, but that's just you, and there are facts, but it's you interpreting it. Some people will give you hope. Some people, will say, oh, life is over. And he doesn't know what to do about it, because every time his uncle speaks, he says, listen, I'm just giving you the facts. This is the news. This is this. You need to know this. And he always says to his uncles, why? And the uncle says, you're never going to change me. Now, this was a whole thing, this gentleman, we'll call him Billy Bob Rowe, but he doesn't know what to do, because he has to be around the uncle.
Yeah, that's a very, it's a very insensitive thing, I think. But Sandy, we are all different. Our emotions are different. The way you will react to something, it's totally different than the way I would react to something. But the question is it coming from love? That's what he needs to ask. Is it coming from love? Because if it's not coming from out of love, then he needs to find a way and navigate to see how he can be able to communicate. Because I always say, Sandy, words have power. Whatever we speak can make someone, can break someone, it can inspire, and it can also demotivate someone. So when you come to me with something, and then I tell this is a fact, it may be a fact to you, but did they, let's put it on, back to back. If they were the ones who needed that advice or whatever it is, and you tell them that, how would they feel? Because sometimes we don't put ourselves in another person. We only see what we want to see and how we think. But does it really make sense for the other person? And now it's a fact. Yeah, thank you very much. But now I have the power not to, if it's not helping me, then I need to get over it and think different, or look to someone else, another confidant, to bounce
Yeah.
ideas or to get advice from. Because if it's not, if the relationship is not helping, the relationship is not supportive, it's not worthy keeping it, Sandy.
I like that. I like that advice. I think Billy Bob's going to like it too. All right. This young lady, all she ever does is hear from her mother and father she has to become a doctor. Her parents are both doctors. She doesn't want to be a doctor. She's more in the theater. And although she knows she should follow her own path, let me just see. She doesn't want to disappoint her parents. And she doesn't know how to not feel like she should just do it so she doesn't disappoint. I'm getting like teary-eyed thinking about it because I can feel that, like.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. You see, those are the expectations that we parents, I'm a mother myself, we have towards our children. Just because you are a chef doesn't mean that I need to be a chef if I don't like to do it. And I think as parents, we should be okay when our kids don't want to do the things that we think they need to do, because their destiny is totally different. What they've been called to do, it's totally different, and you cannot force it. I have, in my last trip to Kenya, I was just getting out of an interview, and I met a young man, and he's a fashion designer, and he said he had been studying for the last 5 years in uni, doing electronical engineer or something to do with engineering, but that's not what he wanted. What he wanted was to be a fashion designer. And so he did that, and then he gave the diploma, the bachelor, to the parents, and he went to follow his purpose. He went to fulfill what he really wanted to do. So you've wasted that child's 5 years, and now, you're not going to be in good terms because he's not going to do what you want him to do. He's going to do something else. I just feel sometimes parents need to understand that we are all called to do different things.
Yeah.
We cannot all be teachers. We cannot all be pilots. We cannot all be doctors. Everybody is called to do something. It's okay to encourage our children on the rightful career path. But if really that's not what they want, I think it's okay to let them pursue what they want.
I hope they feel good about that, because I totally agree. I mean, it might be hard for you. I get it. Everybody in the family is doctors, but they'll be miserable, and nobody wants their kid to be miserable. Right?
Yeah, because they're not gonna, even if they're gonna be doing it, I don't think they will be happy.
Yeah,
I agree. You need to be happy with what you're doing. I always say, Sandy, this is what I always say. You will only be in a position to know that you love what you do when you can wake up 2 a.m. being called to do what you are doing without you being paid, and you jump off the bed and you go do that. You're fulfilling your purpose.
Well, then I'm in good shape, because I keep waking up at 3 a.m. with new ideas.
Amen.
All right, wait a minute. I got to get one more question in here. Oh, this young man wants to go, God willing, with everything, to college in Japan. He doesn't know how to convince his parents that although he really loves them and misses them, this is where he's being called. He's loved the Japanese culture forever. How can he convince his parents that he still loves them, even though he will miss them, but this is what he has to do?
I think just being honest and talk about it, because he needs to follow what his desire is. And if it's for good cause, I think the parents should also be in a position to get it and to bless this child. Yes, you will miss each other, that's for sure. But nowadays, the universe is we are so blessed that's why we are here on Zoom now. So there is still ways. It's not like back in the days where
That's true.
you will send a letter and then it will take 5 months before it gets home and all those things. Now we can see each other almost every day. So it's just being honest and talk about the issue, and just speak of what you want to do, because in the end, it's your life and not our parents' lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have had their share.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. You miss them, but the love gets you through. How's it? The love gets.
And the love will not change, Sand. If the relationship is built on a good grounds, on a good foundation, no matter where you are, the love, actually, when you are, for me, I think when you're far, that's when, because you miss each other, that's when you will really be intentional with your relationship and really get involved and really wanting to know, how are you doing almost every day?
Love it. All right, we have to go to rapid fire questions. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, we're out of time. You ready? Fun questions. Here you go.
Okay.
If you were going to be an animal, which animal would you be and why? I told you it was going to be fun.
That is a good one, Sandy. What would I be like to be?
Whatever comes to your mind.
I would actually want to be a pet rabbit. Can you imagine?
Rabbit? Why a pet rabbit?
Because I think they're just cute.
Okay.
They are just, I would love to be a pet rabbit. I just find they're the most cutest.
Have you ever had a pet rabbit?
Yeah?
Have you ever had a pet rabbit?
No, but I just like them. I actually like pet rabbits.
Well, we're going to have to get you one. We have to
Yeah,
get you
please.
We have to send you a pet rabbit.
I honestly do. I like rabbits. I just feel like they're very beautiful.
They're very fuzzy, their little ears.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, one of my cats the other night had a pet baby rabbit in its mouth. It had hunted it. But don't worry, me and my husband, we tag teamed them at 4 a.m, and my husband got the baby rabbit.
Yeah.
And we tried to tell the mother, stop having babies in our book. We have 5 cats and a dog, and they are not, Mother Nature's not going to be kind, but they're so cute. We saved the baby rabbit just for you, Fauza. Okay, favorite color. Favorite color.
Orange. Energy, bright, colorful. I like orange.
Oh, good. These are first. Color. I love these. Okay, favorite food.
My favorite food, you're gonna be shocked. Coming from Africa, Kenya, we have our own staple food. It's called ugali. So ugali, it's a mixture of, it's not a mixture, it's the corn. We grind it, and then the powder, you make it like porridge, but a bit thick. And then you eat it with beans, with meat, with kale, with cabbage.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
Yes, so I can eat that every day. I always say, put me anywhere in the world, but I have my ugali, I will be very happy. So it has to be my ugali.
Do you make it?
Yes, it's our staple food in Kenya, not only in Kenya, but most parts of Africa. And I just feel like I can live with it anywhere in the world.
Another reason to come to Dubai, to get you to cook for me. Okay, now, not a perfect day, but one of your favorite days. What would one of your favorite days look like from morning till night? What would you do?
What would I do? So I would wake up very grateful that I could open my eyes, do my prayer, do my journal, then leave my room, get my things done, get breakfast, and then, I have school runs sometimes. I have to do the mommy duties, and then I always say I work from anywhere. So I'm always on my laptop, doing my things. So I pretty much my day is just on my laptop. And of course, I love meeting with friends also, but now it's a little bit restricted. And I love my Zen moments as well. Sometimes I just like to be alone. Yeah. Even if it's doing nothing, reconnecting, filling my cup. I love doing that.
Okay.
I'm not a sporty person, Sandy. That's why I didn't talk about it. I mean, I keep shape. I do all those things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
find me in the gym every day, killing myself. No. Not that I'm lazy, but it's,
I never got that ever. And you don't need to be in the gym killing yourself. That's not what it's about. So good for you.
Yeah.
All right. When I say the word universe, what does it mean to you?
For me, love. For me, it's love, Sandy. I mean, of all the greatest things God has had to do was to love the world. And for me, it's just love. When we are willing unconditionally be able to love ourselves, we can be able to love others without expecting anything from them. Yeah. That's what God wants us to do, because he loves us unconditionally.
You gave me a good thing for us to, when we're recording this for Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day. I know what I'm going to say. Okay. How can we find you? But before we do that, where can they get those earrings? I want those earrings because, see, with my hair, they would still show.
You're going to look really cute, Sandy.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, you can get these earrings from my website, actually, or my Instagram. I have a clothing line. And the reason why I started the clothing line, it started as a blog. You know, when my son was still little, and then I had free time on my hands. So I like dressing up. So I would put things together. And some of my friends, they always say that you're always looking cute, you know. And being a mom, sometimes you don't have time to look after yourself or to do this or to do that. But I started the blog actually to inspire others, to remind them that it's not so difficult to look cute in less than 10 minutes. So I started as a blog, and then as the days and months and years evolved, now I've actually have a clothing line. Yes, so I have a line of kimono, which I call it Karembo. So the fabric, it's inspired by the Maasai warriors, very distinctive, very colorful, very bold. Women can wear as a dress or as a kimono.
Do you have any there?
Yes, I do.
Is it close by that you could show us one?
Not now, but I will. I think I'll be sending you pictures. But the reason why I started, yes, it's called Karembo. Karembo means something beautiful. We are all beautiful, Sandy, but every now and then we don't see that. Why we don't see that? Because of the chaos in the world. We're always in a rush. You know, time is going before, you know, like, oh, now my kids have grown. And then, you know, there is just something that sometimes we forget who we really are. So that's what actually inspired me. And then I introduced now the accessory to it.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All right. So how can they find all this? Say it again, where they can find you on social media and the books and everything.
Fauza Beltz on Instagram, BIF Design, or in my website, fauzabeltz.com. Everything is going to be there. I'm working on my website to upgrade it, and then everything will be there. But at the moment, everything is on Instagram.
Cool. They can find it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fauza, thank you so much for being on. I'm so glad. We have to have another excuse to connect again.
Yes.
It's always good. Yeah, and I love it. I love you to pieces. I feel so blessed that you've been on our show, and my positive power ladies are feeling freaking awesome for sure. I specifically wore this for you, you know? All right.
I love it.
My power ladies, check out Fauza, check out her stuff, her books. You're going to love it. Please share this with your friends. Go to Patreon, rate it, share it, like it. We definitely appreciate it, don't we? We do. And until next time, my power ladies, you know what I'm going to say. Toodles.